going on, Jerome's beautiful Thursday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. So, of course, Monday Night Football will be the debut of the Winter Warrior uniforms for the Vikings. It's also a whiteout game, so, we're white. But the Vikings are back in practice on Wednesday. Now, it's a unofficial extra practice because practice schedule for Monday night games is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But Wednesday, the Vikings were back at TCO getting a full padded practice. And kind of love it this time of year where, generally, this time of the season, you're not going to have full padded practices, but the Vikings stressing physicality. Need to get back to where they once belong, especially on defense, especially in the trenches. I understand it. I fully get it. And also, Sling and also, they're wearing the new gear, so they're getting used to their new white helmets. Sling and Sammy Darnold, a.k.a. America's quarterback, with the white helmet. Also wearing the GoPro, the very famous GoPro where J.J. McCarthy just gets the POV look. It's going to be good, man. Also, Danny Dimes, looking pretty good. Not going to lie. Now, I don't know. Should they have gotten rid of the purple stripe? Although, no, those are just practice pants. Doesn't matter. Also, Johnny Munt. Hopefully, the white will blind the Bears if he has to recover an onside kick, which he probably will, because the Vikings will be up by a lot. They're probably going to have to onside kick in the second quarter. Who knows, man? Something I do know is our annual holiday fundraiser is absolutely crushing it. So I got a couple of great donations from the Jeromes yesterday on the heels of that phenomenal $800 anonymous donation to Toys for Tots. It's great. We're currently at about 2,600. We're going to make our goal of $3K. Then we'll just keep bumping it up as the month goes along. Every dollar donated to the show in December will go to Salvation Army Twin Cities and Toys for Tots. Super chats during the live streams, Venmos, Cash Apps, as well as direct donations to Salvation Army and Toys for Tots. If you do that, shoot us an email. We'll include in the tally, and it's really good to give back this time of year. Really happy that we can do this. Also happy. Oh, well, I have no transition. Something that makes me unhappy is injuries, right? And the Vikings do, Kevin Seifert, ESPN, with the benefit of an extra day's rest because of the Monday game, the Vikings will have a full pads practice today, Kevin O'Connell said. A rare chance to get good physical work at this point of the season. But two players who missed were veteran cornerback Stephon Gilmore, dealing with a hamstring issue, as well as Patrick Jones, Pat Jones second, dealing with a knee. Now, Gilly DNP'd all week last week after that hamstring injury the week before against Arizona, so it was expected that he was out. Jones had been limited most of the week, was officially ruled out right before the game, was on the scratch list. So hopefully Jones and Gilmore will get back. But it's more important to have them for the stretch run. And in Gilmore's absence, Shaq Griffin as well as Fabian Moreau got some more run. Nudie got a couple snaps. I think he got 6 more towards the end of the game. No, yeah, a couple in the middle of the game too. Pat Jones second with him out. It was Diamond Dallas Turner as well as Gabriel Murphy getting some extra run in that regard. Also, speaking of run, the Vikings are going to make a run in free agency this offseason. It's going to be great. Purple Persuasion, per Jeremy Fowler, a few team officials predicted at the owners' meeting in Irving, Texas, that the NFL salary cap will land around $275 million, roughly an 8% increase from the $255.4 million figure in 2024. So the Vikings currently sitting at about $203 million in 2025 liabilities. So that would give them roughly $72 million in cap space because and the Vikings do have a ton of flexibility in this spot where they can re-sign some of their free agents that are on expiring contracts. They can work something out with Darnold, as well as they certainly could be big-time players in free agency. Now, I'm just putting it into existence. Trey Smith, Chiefs right guard. Osa Odigizua, Cowboys defensive tackle. DJ Reed, Jets cornerback. Please. Najee Harris, maybe. Why not? Please. That's all I'm saying. All right. So, trust what Kwesi and O'Connell and the coaching staff, as well as Rob Brzezinski, will do. But we'll see. Also, Sling and Sammy Darnold, named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. It would be really impressive if he was Defensive Player of the Week. Well, I guess the week they threw 3 picks against the Jaguars, he could be Defensive Player of the Week. But, of course, Darnold, huge game against the Falcons in the beatdown, completing 78.6% of his passes, 347, 5 touchdowns, 157.9 quarterback rating, etc. And, obviously, love getting the awards, love getting the plaudits. He was September NFC Offensive Player of the Month. off to a great start. I think he and Stafford are neck and neck in terms of December NFC Offensive Player of the Month, but all of this is trivial. Doesn't mean a thing without that ring. So I do think that the Vikings have a great shot in this spot. I think the offense is gelling at the right time. I think defensively, they still certainly have a lot of work. They give up a ton of rushing yards the last couple of games. Hopefully they tamp that down. I think having Pace Jr. back from injury eventually will be great, as well as Gillian Jones second. But Darnold's looking really damn good, and he's forcing the Vikings to make a tough decision this offseason, but it's a good tough decision. You got two potential franchise quarterbacks, and that's a good thing. And speaking of good things, so Rick Spielman, he had some good things, he had some bad things about his tenure as Vikings GM, but he has some thoughts about what's going to happen with the Vikings and slinging Sammy Darnold. This is from Vikes fan page. Quote, "If I was Minnesota, which you used to be, and then you gave Kurt 5 years, $150 million fully guaranteed over 2 contracts, so I don't know, man. I don't know. Why wouldn't you keep Sam Darnold? Why not do a potential bridge deal like Baker Mayfield, 3 years, $100 million deal? Except Baker's deal is just a deal. There is no bridge in Tampa unless you go to St. Petersburg. But, who's Baker a bridge for? Kyle Trask? No. Yeah. Former Vikings GM Rick Spielman suggests Minnesota should follow the example set by Green Bay with Jordan Love and Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes when it comes to J.J. McCarthy. Thoughts? So I understand the Jordan Love comparison gets brought up a lot. So, well, you can draft a first-round quarterback and just sit him for 3 years and 4 years, and he'll be fine. Also, Aaron Rodgers gets brought up a lot too. But yeah, the Mahomes one is kind of analogous to the Vikings because the Chiefs had really great success with Alex Smith. They went in deep in the playoffs, won a couple playoff games. They went 12-4 the season before they drafted Mahomes, and also they were solid the year that Mahomes was a rookie and sat on the bench behind Alex Smith. Now, of course, Mahomes was healthy and was able to get practice time and some scrub game time in his rookie season. J.J. McCarthy obviously on injured reserve, but that would be more analogous to where Alex Smith was still really damn solid, and then he went out and got himself a nice contract with the Commies after he was traded, and then it was Mahomes' turn, and then Mahomes threw 50 touchdowns his first season as a starter, which is kind of insane. But McCarthy, obviously the regime is invested in J.J. McCarthy, highest drafted quarterback in team history, traded up, go get him. But I don't know, are you trying to have your cake and eat it too, and have both things work out? I think the Vikings will make a decision. Either you're all in with Darnold, or it's J.J. McCarthy. Maybe outside chance of that 1-year compromise deal that we talked about with the threat of the franchise tag in place. So we'll see. I don't think that Darnold would go for the 3-year $100 million deal. I think that he's earned more, but I guess we'll see. Speaking of Darnold, so Bleacher Report, Gridiron, putting out where will Darnold play in 2025. So the Jets one is the most hilarious one right now. It is same ownership, Woody Johnson, but it is a different GM because they're going to hire one, and it is going to be a different head coach because they're going to hire one. It would be hilarious. What if they got a solid GM with the Jets and then they hired Josh McCown as head coach and then they brought in Darnold in a tag and trade? That'd be kind of great. I do think that if Darnold departs, it will be a tag and trade situation. I don't think it'll just be open free agency. The Saints, they're sort of tethered to Derek Carr. He does have injury guarantee on his contract. I think they got $10 million dead, but they have huge cap issues. I don't know if Darnold will want to get in New Orleans. The Rams is the obvious one because you do have weapons. You got Puka. They're probably going to part ways with Cooper Kupp. If Stafford retires and if Sean McVay stays, that would be a spot. Titans, obviously, Will Levis ain't the guy, right? And with the Giants, it's sort of Yankee swap with Daniel Jones, but does he want to return to New York, New Jersey? The Raiders are interesting, but also the Raiders and the Giants are in the pole position for the top 2 picks. And this is a two quarterback draft right now with Shador and Cam Ward, but I know lots of things to shake out, and I guess we'll see what happens with Sling and Sammy Darnold. But there's going to be demand, certainly is. Also, got big time demand. So I love when the mic'd up videos come out, especially after a Vikings win. It just shows how much fun high level football is. And these guys, obviously they're getting paid a ton of money, but at the end of the day, it's a kids game, and they're having as much fun as kids. And also, Jefferson just setting global trends. You ever see like your kid, well, my kid like scores a touchdown or gets a goal, or any kid in his soccer class hits a goal, then all of a sudden they're just doing the gritty for the most minor thing. It's just funny, man. But Jefferson and Addison, it does seem like it is a true partnership now. Now, I think last year it was a little bit helter-skelter because of the Jefferson injury. Like, they weren't on the field as much as they are this season. So I think it's gorgeous, man. I think it's beautiful. I think a beautiful partnership is growing and showing in this spot. And Addison is fully cognizant that he gets favorable matchups, a lot of one-on-one coverage downfield because Jefferson has that gravity of all the DBs. All right, so I think that this could be a really nice partnership going forward. It makes you feel good about Darnold, makes you feel good about J.J. McCarthy. If it's going to be his show next year, it's going to be good, man. That's right. Also, kind of good. So Belichick's going back to college. Belichick is finalizing a deal to become the new head coach at North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Sources tell Schefter, blah, 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 blah. Now, the question is, why would Belichick do this? So basically, he got full control of North Carolina. He has a GM of the program, Michael Lombardi, doling out all that NIL money. Their NIL budget went from $4 million to $20 million, and Belichick is making no bones about this. Like, he is building an NFL factory, right? So UNC, NFL pipeline, and basically, so one of the reasons why Saban retired is that he lost his competitive advantage at Alabama, where NIL money just came in and changed the game. Now, Saban's leverage all those years was like, hey, you're going to get tough coaching. Come to Tuscaloosa. You'll get to the NFL. But now, with all the NIL inducements in recruiting, which isn't supposed to be a thing, but it is, obviously, it's leveled the playing field a bit. Now Belichick, I don't see him as a tier 1 recruiter, but he will have a full department for that. I think football-wise, this is a fantastic move. I think that, frankly, his coaching game is probably better catered to the college ranks. Don't know why, but it's weird. But of course, Belichick, grew up. His dad, Steve Belichick, was a longtime scout for Navy. Also had some stops at Vanderbilt as well as North Carolina. Back to his roots, which is great. And I think that the Tar Heels are going to kick some ass. I think that North Carolina is going to do great in recruiting. I think that their NIL budget is going to be monstrous as well. I think that a lot of kids who want to get to that next level see Belichick is like, okay. Also, I think Belichick's going to lighten up quite a bit. Obviously, he's going to be tough and demanding, but this is not going to be like the NFL. I think that he will adjust things to a younger perspective. I don't know. Maybe his girlfriend's probably going to help him with that. So they say Riz. Yeah. Well, I actually think that this is going to work, right? And, I mean, he's younger than Mac Brown, so there you go. But North Carolina, come on and raise up. That's right, man. Speaking of raising up, Guten Tag. NFL, coming to Olympic Stadium in 2025, the first ever regular season game in Berlin. So the NFL is hell to leather, just wants to grow the game internationally, right? I see the larger picture. It's fine. They had 2 games in Munich this time around at the Allianz, but Berlin, go ahead. Keep growing it. I mean, what country should be next? France, China, Australia would be pretty fantastic. You going back to Brazil, even though they don't give 2 hoots about American-style football, although we do have some great Brazilian JEROMEs, so shout out there. So, I don't know. Eventually, here's what I don't want them to do. Teams outside the Jaguars should not make multiple international games. Giving up home games kind of sucks. And also, do not move the Super Bowl internationally. That's it. Keep that American. Lastly, so Gridiron Heights is one of my favorite laughs every single week. They did really good. And this week, they're talking about the playoff picture. And I'm a large Wicked fan. Wicked fan, like I'll just admit, right? And Kurt just shows up. Are we still doing the Wicked theme? Who's the green guy? And Jefferson's like, don't embarrass me. Got Darnold over there in front of his new friends. It's kind of funny, man. I could definitely see Kirk being into musicals. Wicked, the producers. Actually, no, not even Wicked. It's like, it's okay. But no, the producers, the Book of Mormon, Spam-A-Lot. Yeah, but I bet you Kirk likes Spam-A-Lot. Go from there. But anyways, that is it. That is the Vikings Thursday news dump. You guys are the best. You absolutely know what to do. Skull production value.